Welcome to Season 3 of FanFic Critic. Yes, I've been doing this for 3 seasons, and I've been doing the web series itself for a little over a year now. Hasn't really felt like that long, but here we are. Yes, so today's story, study session. That sounds innocent to you, doesn't it? Yes, this is on Archive of Your Own. The author is Yaoi Lover 15. That's your first red flag. So, the rating. Explicit. Category. M&M. So I'm assuming male on male. Fandom. High School Musical. The musical. The TV series. Relationship. Ricky Bowen and E.J. Caswell. I'm just going to give you all a heads up right now. I am not at all familiar with the High School Musical series. So keep that in mind. Although I don't think that will be a necessary knowledge for the story, because here are what all the tags say. Cum swallowing, cum sharing, cum eating, oral sex, seduction, blowjobs, first time blowjobs, plot what plot, porn, without plot, porn watching experience. It's unfortunately in English. It was published back in 2020 in October of the 16th of the day. Sorry, I just said that weirdly. I've gotten so used to doing it how the Americans do it by saying, you know, like the month, the date, and then the year, that now when I see it listed properly, it throws me off. Keep in mind, I've been living in this country for over a decade, so... And the word count, 2,854 words. Just long enough for me to read aloud. If it was over 3,000, I wouldn't have to read it out loud. But maybe I should consider it a blessing in disguise, because if I did have to do a summarized review instead, that means I would have to take notes on it. And by taking notes, it would mean I would have to reread it. Only 1 chapter, 4 comments, 117 kudos and 10 bookmarks, and has over 4,000 hits. Right, the summary. During a study session, Ricky notices something on EJ's phone that leads to a bit of fun between the two. Now keep in mind they're in high school. Well, you know, you Americans know what high school is. Yes. For my fellow Europeans, they're teenagers, let's put it that way. In the library, after all the drama surrounding the musical ended, EJ and Ricky started to get along pretty well. They became relatively good friends, and had both hung out a lot between EJ, Ricky, and Big Red's house. And when Ricky's grades started slipping because of the rigorous preparations for the next musical, EJ had offered to start tutoring him. The senior did have a pretty high GPA. Even after admitting to plagiarism, cheating, and paying a friend to do some of his homework during his honesty phase, he still had a 3.7 after retaking some proficiency tests and earning grades on his own merit. So they had been studying together for the past few weeks in the library, from the time rehearsal ended to the time the janitor finally got around to cleaning up the room. The tutoring was actually working out pretty well, and Ricky's grades were steadily climbing. Every day was relatively productive. Every day except this one, that is. EJ had given Ricky a sheet of algebra problems, and he was scrolling through his Instagram feed until Ricky was finished. Since EJ had his phone sitting down on the table while he flipped through the latest posts from people he followed, Ricky could see what he was looking at whenever he happened to look up. When he took a breath to ask EJ a question, he happened to glance at EJ's phone and saw a familiar face on it. There was a thin and slightly muscular guy with short blonde hair that swept over his face, and these super huge baby blue doll-like eyes, but Ricky couldn't remember exactly where he'd seen them before. When EJ looked up at him, expecting him to say something after he had taken a breath, Ricky finally realized the name. "Is that Leo Lovemore?" Ricky asked. EJ's eyes widened. E-I, ha. EJ stuttered. EJ, if you don't want your friend noticing that you're looking at naughty images, maybe you shouldn't be looking at naughty images while you're in school. And don't they have, like, a block on the school's Wi-Fi to prevent these children from looking up naughty things? Hold on a minute, that's Meg.
5 minutes later.
Alright, sorry about that. That was just Meg. Yeah. It's her day off today, but she's running some errands and she was asking me if we needed to get... Well, you don't need to know all that garbage. Right, well, yes, this is where I left off. Is that Leo Lovemore? Ricky asked again. I think I know him. He's an actor, right? He acts all right. EJ said, finally regaining his composure, as he realized Ricky didn't even realize what he had just revealed. He kinda grinned a little at the cleverness of his completely truthful yet non-illuminating response. But you're acting suspicious. Oh, whatever. I can't remember what movie he's in. What role did he play? Ricky asked innocently, really racking his brain to figure out where he'd seen him before. His films are usually shorter than an hour, EJ said, trying to see how long he could keep this going. Oh, I get it. Leo Lovemore's supposed to be a porn star. And Ricky's playing stupid. He knows he's not an actual actor, but he's trying to figure out where he's seen him before. Alright, yeah. But I feel like he was in a superhero movie, Ricky muttered. Was it the MCU or DCU? I think ATM, EJ said, beginning to laugh violently at his own remark. Dude, Ricky said as he realized EJ was messing with him. You totally know what movie he was in. What role did he play? I feel so stupid that I can't figure this out. Well, EJ paused for a second as he pondered whether to tell the truth and embarrass Ricky or just lie and let things go back to usual. But his life did turn out a lot better as he got used to the idea of honesty being the best policy. So he decided to go for it. Top, bottom. He's pretty versatile. What the heck does Ricky started before his eyes widened and his voice failed him. The red shot up to his face within a second, turning him the colour of a tomato in some parts of his face. Oh my god. Yeah, he's a gay porn star. EJ looked back down at Leo's picture. So, how do you know about him? When Ricky didn't say anything and looked down at the table, he said, hey, it's 2019. It's not like it's crazy to be interested in a little guy-on-guy action. He said the last part in a cheeky voice to try and lighten the mood. And I know who he is too, EJ said. I am following the guy. He's pretty hot. And he can give a mean BJ. And he shoots like a busted fire hydrant. And he has such a filthy mouth in the scenes where he's bottoming. And EJ stopped himself from going on much more when he felt a stirring in his pants begin. But yeah, I like him too. Yeah, Ricky said, finally meeting EJ's eyes again. But the redness not leaving his face. So, what's your favourite scene? When he got a look from EJ, he quickly said, yeah, I don't even know why I asked that. I'm sorry, it's super awkward. No, it's cool, EJ said breezily, hoping it wouldn't be awkward if he pretended it wasn't. He actually did do a superhero thing, but it was a parody of the Night Monkey movie that came out last year. But I think my favourite is this one with this guy named Cole Cox, where Cole cloned himself. They both finished together. I watched it too, Ricky said, this whole thing beginning to feel a lot more easy and casual. I've never seen a porno like that where there were twins. Well, not a gay one, but it was so awesome to see both of them go to work on him. I didn't even know Cole had a twin. That is so awesome. And they came buckets too. And then there was this one where Leo was in this parody that showed the tourney of crowns. It was so freaking sexy. He started using that British accent and how he rode that guy while he had a crown on his head. Ricky chuckled, imitating the accent, as he said, it was, wasn't it, my lord? EJ let out a belly laugh at that one and grimaced as he was poked in the stomach by his erection. Oh, great. Let me guess, he has like a ginormous penis. He hadn't realized it, but he had gotten really hot talking about all of this with Ricky. I wonder what's going to happen. What's wrong? Ricky asked. He wanted so badly to just say nothing and be done with it. Have you seen the High School Musical parody he just did? Wait a minute, but these are characters in High School Musical. I'm confused. So are they self-aware, like me and Meg? I guess so. He did a High School Musical parody? Ricky asked in shock. Yes, it just came out a couple of days ago, EJ said. He plays Ryan and Denny Dickinson's plays Troy. I haven't seen it yet. Why? EJ asked in confusion. I don't have a subscription, so I have to wait until they come out for free after 3 months. The only credit cards in the house are my dad's and my emergency debit card, but my mom can view all my transactions when I use it. That's rough, EJ considered for a second. You want to watch it now? I have the app on my phone and no one's around. We could watch it together. In a school. Oh, bloody hell. Ricky knew he should say no, but he'd had a hard for the majority of the conversation. Is that okay with you? I wouldn't suggest it if it wasn't. So what are they going to do? Just watch some porn, whip out the... EJ said, let me come sit next to you so we can see. EJ got up and walked to the other side of the table, sitting in the chair next to the skater. He opened an app on his phone and scrolled through a couple of scenes with the most vulgar thumbnails you can imagine. He selected the High School Musicock parody video, where he turned his sound up and used the kickstand on his phone case to hold his phone up on the table so he and Ricky could see it. EJ leaned back in his chair as the video started. Leo walked up to Denny, both of them wearing their Ryan and Troy costumes. They were talking about auditions. Ryan offered to blow Troy in exchange for him dropping out, hoping that would lead to Gabriella dropping out as well. Troy agreed and pulled down his pants. Ricky's eyes widened as he saw how huge Denny Dickens' dick was, as Ryan started sucking his dick, somehow managing to get the whole thing down his mouth on the first try. Ricky gasped. As Troy moaned, Ricky said, that must feel so amazing. Have you? EJ started. Never had been sucked off before, Ricky. Ricky started. No, I'm not judging, EJ clarified. I just can't believe it. It's like the best feeling in the world. Well, at least when someone's doing it right. Seems like it, Ricky said when Troy started face-fucking Ryan. Do you want me to suck you off right now? EJ asked casually. I mean, the story already hinted this was going to happen, but... Meanwhile, the librarian... Get out of my library, you bloody perverts! And you're both expelled for indecent exposure! That would be the reality of the situation. Well, do you? Ricky was so confused. But you're my friend. Which is how you know I won't tell anybody. Oh yes, because it's so casual for friends to just have sex with each other. It's just so you can know what it feels like. And it's good to start early, because when you get one for real, you don't want to come so quickly that you disappoint the girl or boy. There's nothing wrong with a boy you're with. I guess you are kind of right, Ricky said. Okay, I'm always right, EJ said confidentially. Now back up a little so EJ can give you a BJ, huh? Well, that was bloody lame. Ricky pulled his chair away from the table as EJ got on his knees in front of him. EJ rubbed Rick's dick for a moment. Rick's dick. Rick is also a term for... Never mind. And Dick is also a nickname for Rick. Isn't that funny? I feel bad for anyone who has the nickname Dick. I don't think that's a nickname that would fly these days. Smiling when he realized it was hard. Well, you don't say. He undid the button on Ricky's checkered shorts and pulled them down, along with his underwear. He was pretty surprised at how big Ricky was. His dick was longer than the average, and about average in thickness. It also curved upwards, which EJ loved because that meant it kind of reminded him of a banana. Could you please not ruin bananas for me? It was hard to make out his balls because EJ hadn't pulled his shorts all the way down. He also noticed that Ricky had pubes that, despite looking a little wild and bushy due to his hair texture, were well groomed. AJ grabbed the appendage in front of his face and pumped the skater's cock for a few seconds. "Oh my God," Ricky gasped. "Be careful, it's sensitive." "How sensitive is little Rick?" EJ asked, looking up at Ricky as he licked up the underside of his dick. Ricky's eyes rolled back in his head as his body shook in pleasure. "Tastes pretty good." EJ noticed Ricky's dick twitched a little at that. EJ grinned and said, "It's okay, Bowen. Just relax and let me handle little Rick." "Who the bloody hell is Bowen?" EJ opened wide and plunged down onto Ricky's cock. Ricky let out a groan so loud that EJ was scared people in the coffee store across the street from the school would be able to hear them. "Oh my God, this is ridiculous." The skater was overwhelmed by how good EJ was at this. Well, Ricky didn't know how, but EJ was prodigious with the way he worked his tongue. The wet muscle slid all over Ricky's cock. He would even take breaks from sucking Ricky every now and then just to lick all over the shaft of his cock, swirling or flickering motions. During one of those breaks, he said, "God, Ricky, your dick is like the perfect size and shape to slide down my throat." Ricky felt like he was going to have a heart attack out of the sheer excitement and pleasure. As if feeling of the blowjob wasn't enough, he kept looking down at EJ's stunning living Ken doll face, and EJ just had to say something to make the situation harder. It was already taking everything in him not to come already. That task got a lot more difficult when EJ grabbed his dick and started pumping the base, leaning forward and giving the head and underside a little kitten licks as he said, "You're even bigger than some of the seniors on the water polo team." Dude, please slow down a little," Ricky begged as he held the arms of his chair in a death grip. "Please, your tongue is so wet and good." He shuddered as EJ's warm breath hovered over his cock. EJ then let his tongue coil around the tip of Ricky's dick. When the skater let out another loud moan, EJ slowed down his movements a little. He gave us "You know what? I've read enough." So, I've read enough. I'm not reading the rest of that because this is just ridiculous. This is just... No, okay. Right, let's talk about the good things about this story. Well written. Good spelling and grammar. And that's it. Aside from that, it's bloody porn. It doesn't even have a plot. Not really. It's just these two boys. They're supposed to be doing a study session. And then one decides to give the other a blowjob because he's never had a blowjob before. Acting like it's a normal conversation that friends would have between each other. No, it's not a conversation that a friend would have with another friend, unless they both had sexual feelings for one another. And then they wouldn't be friends, now would they? No, they'd be lovers. Bloody stupid story. Yes, I know, creator, I stopped reading it. I read most of it, okay? I read most of it. The scroller was like 3/4 of the way down, you can deal with it. You didn't enjoy it either, I bet. Right. Sorry. Yes, so that was gross. That was gross. But a lot of porn fanfics are gross. You see, when I want to read a fanfic, I want to read a fanfic that actually has a storyline to it. Not something like this, which is just... Well, if you all enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to leave a like and leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, cheerio.